Auschwitz, where Nazis murdered more than 1 million people, mostly Jews.
For me, Auschwitz is a cemetery.
I remember the hangings, I remember the horror.
Auschwitz is like a terrible scar.
It was a terrible place.
Few survived the largest mass murder in history, but 75 years after the liberation of this death camp, some are going back, a few for the first time. Sally Yassa from New York is one.
I need a lot of sweaters.
She was sent there at 16 with her parents and siblings. They were killed.
When we came to Auschwitz, we felt something like burning. I didn't see the chimneys, but we felt the air like burning, like bones, you know?
Now 93, she's going back.
Auschwitz to me is a cemetery. And I'm going to honor my people. To go to the cemetery, I never had that. I'm going to cry my heart out, but I want to go.
Hundreds of thousands of Jews were selected for death at this spot, gassed within an hour and then burned. Their ashes scattered all around here. At the Auschwitz gate, with its notorious sign, "Work will make you free," a few survivors returned.
And it should never happen again.
I'm the only one who survived. And I spent here exactly 8,400 hours.
Miriam Ziegler was 8 when she was experimented on here by the notorious Nazi Dr. Joseph Mengele.
And that's you.
And that's me. And I wouldn't want anybody to live through what we lived through.
When
David Lenga from California lost most of his family.
I remember the place where they were shooting the people at the wall. I remember the hangings, I remember the horror, I remember the smoke of the chimney coming out from the crematoria. I remember everything. It left such a scar on my soul and on my mind that I could never, ever forget it.
Elizabeth Sitrom's mother was murdered on their first day here.
The second day, I asked, when am I going to reunite with my mother? And they took me in the arm and showed me the chimney, and they said, when you go out the same way.
Every day was a battle for survival.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The numbers are still staggering. At full capacity, 10,000 people a day were killed here. In 8 weeks in 1944, 1/3 Jews from Hungary were gassed and then burned.
When we got to Auschwitz,
For Sonia Klein from New York, death was just a few feet away.
we were next to the gas chamber and crematoria, and we learned how to sleep. You smelled the blood all night, and we learned how to sleep.
The horrors are unimaginable. These newly colorized images show Jews being rounded up for death, their terror clear. The cattle trucks they were loaded into brought them to Auschwitz, the end of the line. And it was here, where the tracks end, that dozens of survivors gathered to commemorate the liberation of the camp in 1945. Their pain still raw.
I'm upset. You probably can feel that.
Auschwitz is like a terrible scar from a terrible trauma. It never goes away, and the pain never stops.
Many afraid of new attacks on Jews in the US and Europe.
Do not be silent. Do not be complacent. Do not let this ever happen again to any people.
Sally Yassa made it back to Auschwitz, bringing a message for her murdered mother.
To talk to my mother and tell her, Ma, I want to tell you what I went through. And Ma, please, I love you. I need you. Embrace. I need you to touch me and kiss me like I used to do it before.
And bringing also a burden.
I always feel guilty. I say, why me? Why me?
She survived not only Auschwitz, but Belsen, where she met the teenage Anne Frank, whose diary survives her murder.
My friend Anna Frank over there, she looked like a little girl like me. And here, my heart is breaking. Everything comes back to me. I feel my mother. I feel my mother like she is touching me.
Where prisoners were shot, survivors shed tears. The mass killing here has always been a warning from history. But as anti-Semitism and nationalism grow, it's a more urgent warning today than ever.
You're afraid.
Afraid.
Once again.
I am afraid. I am very, very afraid.
When good people see evil raising its ugly head anywhere in the world and do nothing about it and become indifferent to it, that's the consequence. Because evil conquers. Evil triumphs. When you let it triumph.
We don't want our grandchildren to have the same anti-Semitism that we lived through. When you have only 30% of children can even name one concentration camp and know nothing about the Holocaust, what do we expect?
Sometimes history has a way of repeating itself. Hate leads to destruction. We must not forget, and we can't forget.
Today, 2 million visitors a year come to Auschwitz, to the gas chambers, to the crematoria the Nazis tried to destroy, to remember, like the survivors, what was lost.
All the possibilities it could have been for our generation. All the artists, and the doctors, and the scientists that all went up in smoke.
It was the most horrendous mass slaughter in human history. And the world chose at that time to be silent.
Can I forgive? It's a different story. No.
It could happen to here too. It could happen. What the Germans did it. A country like that, sophisticated, intelligent people became beasts, even animals.
Yet even here, after all they've endured, they count their blessings.
Today, I'm a very lucky person. I am married. I have 6 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. And for this, I'm very grateful.
For many, like David Marks from Connecticut, returning for the first time is a kind of victory.
I would love Hitler should be alive, and he should see what I accomplished.
That you're alive.
I'm alive.
How are you
I have a bride.
David Marks lost 35 members of his family. He will marry his partner, Kathy Klein, in June. This may well be the last time so many survivors gather here, but their warning from history is very clear. Never again.
Murderers, they were not, maybe not before, but that's what humankind can become.
Horrible place!
Hey NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.